come on in. What do you want to do, man?
We're gonna do some Rust today. I'm feeling kind of rusty.
Ooh,
I know
nice.
you've never used Rust, so I kind of want to take it a little slow for you, if that's okay.
That'd be fantastic. I've watched you work on Rust on your stream, which is just the most delightful time. Chat, can someone do a shout out for MAXCELL?
Got me, Maxell.
But is it underscore or anything? Oh,
just the W at the end.
Okay,
I can't get my own name, unfortunately.
Awesome. Oh,
fun facts: Maxell is my real name, or my first name, I guess.
Yeah, but okay, so Rust, it is a different language than JavaScript, correct? It's not like a library or anything like that. It's an entirely different language.
Completely different, but if you're following along in the JavaScript ecosystem, you're seeing a lot of tooling coming out with Rust. Fun facts, next version 12 just started integrating with some Rust stuff. You have a lot more tooling coming with Rust, so it's being adopted everywhere.
Yeah, it's really picking up steam. So I've got over here, spooky transitions.
Spooky.
I've got this play.rustlang.org over here, and I'll drop that in chat. Okay, so this looks like a classic Hello World that we've got going on.
Classic Hello World, very, very bare bones.
Okay.
If you open it up and you click that orange run button, it's going to go ahead and tell you, like, here's what our script is going to output. So at the very bottom, the standard output is going to tell us that hello world. Very concise.
Yeah.
So let's talk through some of the stuff in here. We got the first line is our function, the main function. All Rust programs need them. So you got to always have them.
Okay.
You'll have like the function, the main, and you'll see that beautiful print line. That next line in there, that's what outputs to the screen.
Okay.
Let's say we want a variable in Rust. You might be familiar with the word let. Let us have a variable. If you're ever like, how do I have to remember this thing? You can just give it the name. So let's say you give it the name, I don't know. Think of a random Halloween. There you go. Perfect.
No, Prince. That's not your go-to variable. Come on.
If you know me, my go-to variable name is beef. So let's go with beef.
Can we?
Yes, we can. We can. It won't make any sense. So people watching this, I'm sorry. It's just how it has to be.
It's how it has to be. But also, it's kind of a running joke in the... See? They already came through with it. Ryan was already on it. It's kind of a running gag in the Discord. Ben Myers and I have beef with each other. Not actually, but that's just been the joke. So yeah, it's perfect. So let beef.
And you typically need to give your variable a value. Otherwise, it doesn't really know anything. Unlike JavaScript, you can't reassign them unless you tell them to be reassigned. So let's just give it like the number 10 and then put a semicolon at the end. Okay. Unlike JavaScript, you got to have that semicolon. It's kind of important. Otherwise, the program will break. So now we've declared a variable called beef, and it's equal to the number 10. What we're going to do is we're just going to run our program, and we're going to see what happens real quick.
All right. Run.
You'll see right here, you get this cool, like, unused variable declaration. The Rust compiler is pretty smart. It lets you know, like, hey, you're probably doing something. You might want to pay attention. So it kind of gives you type hints along the way.
Interesting. So this is a warning. Would this still compile?
It will still compile. Okay. In fact, it still runs. If you go and look, scroll down towards the bottom, you'll see the standard output is still hello world. But maybe we want to, tell our program to, instead of using hello world, we want to output our variable. What we're going to do is we're going to replace that string with hello world. We're just going to take it. You can take all of it. We're going to just put quotation marks and then curly braces inside. Seems a little strange, but this is the way that we do string interpolation inside of Rust.
Got it.
Ooh, let's see what happens. But before we do that, let's try running and see what happens. I just want to. I'm a big person of try and see. Yeah. Because you never know what's going to happen. Rust is pretty smart. It tells you like, hey, you can't really do anything like this, except notice says there's no argument named beef. You kind of jumped ahead to where I was going to go.
I did not mean to. Yeah.
You're okay. So what happens is Rust has some what's the word? It has some intelligent design around like, hey, you can name variables inside of your string interpolation. So unlike in JavaScript where you just put in order matters, you can actually say like put beef in this place. But in our case, let's just remove the beef from there. Yep. Okay. And we're gonna put a comma at the end of the string, like outside of the quotation marks, and then put beef. And this is saying in our curly brace, in the first location, put beef there.
Got it. Does Python?
So you're kind of jumping ahead, but
Yeah.
we're all good.
Got it.
And
So
now
if
when
I
we try
run
to run the
this,
program,
it'll just say beef.
well,
Or,
it
no, it'll
shouldn't
say
say
10. Dang
beef.
it! I forgot.
But congratulations, you figured out how to do interpolation. You figured out how to do variable declarations. You did it here.
Cool.
Let's say we want to get more complex. We're
Okay.
running it in. We're making it happen. In JavaScript, you have the concept of objects, right?
Right.
Totally makes sense. People kind of have these things. In Rust land, we have these things called structs. That's like the equivalent of what an object would be.
Okay.
To declare a struct, you use the struct keyword outside of your function. So let's say like above or below, doesn't really matter. Just wherever it feels good. Like put it outside of the function main. We can declare a struct.
Okay.
And that struct is
outside of function main.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, we're getting cool out here, right?
Yeah.
We're just making it happen. Let's say I'm trying to think of Halloween theme, but I'm boring.
Can we do
no
like
puns here?
Are we doing like candies or something, or like
Let's do candy. Let's do candy. I like it. We're making our own object. We can declare it with capital C candy, and then we'll put some curly braces around. This is telling the Rust compiler, hey, we're making a cool
like
new
that.
thing. So you had it right. You were totally perfect before.
Like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is now saying we have a type of thing called candy, and inside of there, let's give it a property called name, and name is going to be equal to a string. We're going to do colon in there. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
It's kind of strange. I know it's very unusual to write some Rust code. Instead of using the quotation marks, we're going to write str.
Oh, like that.
Mm-hmm. And so here, what we're doing is we're declaring that candy has a property called name, and its value is going to be equal to an str or string for short.
Right. Got it.
And this is one of those quirky things about Rust. There's two types of strings. Two strings. Who would have known? The biggest thing that we want to do is we want to put an ampersand in front of our str.
Okay, and string.
So, yeah, and string. That's a good way to remember it. It's and
I don't
string,
know what it means, but I'll remember it.
I don't know. Yeah. If we try to compile this now,
okay,
we shouldn't see anything happen except that it runs beautifully. And if it doesn't, world's not over. You're gonna be like, excuse me, sir. I need to have a thing. Oh no. We're not going that far. We don't need to know that error. But basically, strings have a lifeline, and we need to tell them how long they need to stay alive. What we're going to do...
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. We're going to backpedal. Instead of the name property, we're just going to say quantity, because you care more about how many things you have.
Yeah, we're making a Rust thing for Ben Holmes's candy clicker thing that counts all the candies. So that's what
exactly.
It's just following up on that. So quantity,
and this is going to have an integer, so an I32. Okay. This is a type inside of Rust. It says have an integer. It could be positive, could be negative, but it's for 32 bytes.
Okay. Oh shoot, you got to get into that. It's like 32 memory allocation type stuff, but like I have to decide. Interesting.
Yeah, it's just memory allocation happened for us. And now if we try to run a program, it's probably going to be like, you're good. You're still printing out hello world, and we're going to be fine.
We're still printing out struct candy. It's
exactly what we expect. Cool. We're not using it. So it's just like, what are you doing? And instead of, having our beef variable, let's call that, on line 5, let's replace 10 with our candy. So we're going to have capital C candy, and then we're going to put curly brace, and we're going to give that quantity of value. Think of a number of candies you'd like to have.
Let's go with those numbers.
Perfect. So now we have this good candy here. It has a number of quantity in there, but unlike before where we understood beef was a number and it could just output it to the screen, it doesn't really know what beef is. The Rust isn't smart yet. We have to tell it what from beef do we want? We want the quantity. So we want the beef.quantity there. Similar to accessing the value inside of JavaScript. It's the same.
That's great.
If we go and try to console log it, boom.
Why? So it takes a while to compile. Is that just the nature of it? But
that's a great question. We're using an online editor, which is fairly slow.
Got
You
it.
might be like thinking to yourself, I've heard that people say,
It's so fast.
Rust is fast,
Yeah.
and it is. The only caveat is this particular UI lets us do a lot of things, like share this particular code block. So what it's doing is that
Nice.
it actually lets you save the code, and you can
Got
actually
it.
share this particular script that we come out at the end with. So that's
It's
why
like
it
a
takes a
REPL
little bit.
it kind of thing.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Cool. Nice. All right.
But now we've done candies with a quantity. We made a struct. We accessed the data part in the struct. We did a bunch of little things. Honestly, we could just say that we did our job. Give me the monies, and like we can go from here. We can do all sorts of things. But you're probably like, Prince, I have too many questions. We just went through so many things. Let me hear them.
So no, I mean so we make functions with the FFN
Perfect.
property, or no, it would be like the FN
Keyword.
Keyword.
Is typically what we see.
Nice.
You know?
We make basically like so I'm going to keep referencing JavaScript for my
Go
like
for it.
basic for my basis of understanding, right? We to make like a JavaScript object kind of thing, we first need to declare it with a struct, and I can't just get right to like here's the value of quantity. I need to type it first. And then I can kind of declare it later. Now, can I make multiple of that candy? Like I could create another version of that over here. Like let ham equal candy quantity.
Yep.
2.
Think of it like, have you heard of TypeScript? You might be familiar with TypeScript.
Yep.
We're declaring a type. The type
Right.
is called candy. And so when we do it on lines 5 and 6, we're using that type to build our thing.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
now you have a ham, which has a quantity of 2. And if we're like, which one is bigger? Beef or ham's quantity, you can figure it out.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Ooh, love this.
Is
You're,
that kinda-
you're already... Look, the noodle is just cooking over here where we're
Yeah.
trying to see, can we do the thing? Is
Can I
beef's
break it?
quantity higher than ham's quantity? And the answer is, oh, he doesn't know what to do. It says, println error expected. Oh,
expected
no.
I don't have a semicolon here. Aha.
The Rust compiler gets you. It tells you,
does.
hey, you're trying to run some code that's not going to work. It's not JavaScript over here. We're not just going to let you write some bad code. We're going to let you know, hey, this won't work.
Yeah. Man,
Fix you.
that's why I'm not sure if I would get along here, just because bad code's what I'm shipping. I mean, that's
Listen, it's just like a slow little trot. We're not out here trying to gallop. We're not trying to be out here making that happen.
Thank you for putting
nice
it
little step.
in language I understand. I appreciate you. I appreciate
You're
that.
a cowboy. I totally have to make sure to keep you up and make sure you know how you're good.
Love it.
Somewhere there.
This is so good. Okay, so we've got structs. What else? Arrays.
So that's a great question. Arrays kind of exist, but they aren't arrays in Rust land. We call them vectors.
Okay.
And so
But
vectors
it's the
can
same. It's a list essentially. There's some kind of a list component.
love that.
thing.
Yes, a
Type, got
list
it.
that can grow, and it has to be declared a specific type. So let's end it with making a vector of our candy. I think that's always a solid one to go.
Oh, should we get rid of this one?
No, I think we should keep it. We should get rid of line 2 for now. Let's declare a new variable.
Okay.
And let's call it like the basket, right? Like the candy basket that we're having. We're gonna
Right.
store our ham and our beef inside of here. So in let's say below
We're
line
bad
6,
at Halloween.
they're coming to this place and just being like, what is going on over here?
Mom, you gave me a honey baked ham.
So let's say we declare our variable, we're calling it a basket, and to declare that this has this particular type, we're going to put a colon after basket. So basket is a lowercase,
Oh.
colon, and then we're going to do VEC with a capital V,
Vector, got it.
alligator tags. I don't know other ways
Love
of calling those things. And inside of there, we're going to say candy.
Capital, cool.
And it's going to be
Got it.
It's going to be equal to a capital V vector, VEC, colon,
colon.
and then yep, perfect. And then new with a parenthesis on the end. You're doing all the hard stuff up front.
Yeah.
Look at that. We're declaring we're going to make a vector. It's going to have a value. All the values inside of this vector is going to be candy. But right now it's empty. If we compile that, it should all work. I'm a big compile it sooner than later kind of person.
Yeah. That's just unused variable basket. Looks good. That's it.
And then let's say we want to add something to that. I don't know how much time we have. I'm trying to
we're pretty much up, but can we toss something in here super quick?
Let's say we want to add one of our candies into it. Similar to like array, you would just push that particular value inside. So basket.push and then the value. Mm-hmm. Yep. Love it. And you can do the same thing with ham.
Oh, it's not what I meant to do.
And I like the chat. The chat has declared that the alligator tags are pointy boys.
Yeah, that is a Cassie Evans creation. She calls them curly boys, curvy boys, and pointy boys. Yeah, that's it works.
Makes sense now.
Yeah. Okay. Basket push ham. Okay, so now how do we log it out? Am I doing?
We're gonna try this. I have a feeling it won't work. But let's just try basket. This will probably not work.
Okay.
And the reason for this is because we've created a new type. We didn't actually say how it's supposed to be outputted, but let's try one. Oh, I really want to get to it, but if we might be pushing it, and I don't want to push it for you, but I'll leave you with this.
Yeah.
Inside of Rust, you have to tell your types, hey, like I want to be able to do these particular features. And then one of the later concepts inside of Rust is called traits, to extend our types to do new things. And so one trait we would have to add is the debug trait, but I don't want to get you all into that.
Well, I appreciate this. This is really cool and a lot more approachable, but at the same time, like very different than I expected. Like kind of similar. It's more like we've been doing a lot of shader work, and so it feels a lot more like working in GLSL. With stuff like the main function and the types and all that kind of stuff. So I'm a bit more familiar with typed languages thanks to that. But this is so cool, Prince. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm so glad we got to have you on stream.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Here, and take one, and happy Halloween, buddy. Happy Halloween. Great to see you.